You're listening to WCAT Radio, your home for authentic Catholic programming.
Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Cynthia Toolin-Wilson on my show, Author to Author, and today I'm here with my friend, Dr. Raymond Dennehy. I'm very interested to hear about what you've written.
Well, a few years ago, I just had this urge to write about angels. And I think one of the primary motives was these things on TV and whatever about angels, they're so far apart from what angels are. You know, like there's one TV series called Supernatural, and in this particular, the 5th edition, Satan is imprisoned, and so even when you think about Genesis, the angels go to war. Well, they're spirits, and they don't occupy space.
Yeah.
And you can't imagine them killing or injuring each other. So I just wrote it, and one reviewer misread it. He said there's no action here. Well, it was a dialogue. Oh. And but I didn't say that. I simply had a subtitle, "The War Between Michael and Lucifer." But it was all dialogue, and it had some popularity, and I just reread it this afternoon. I said, "Gee, did I write that?" And I like it, but the reason this got into Sebastian's realm of interest, I think, is Peter Redpath is starting this course, The Logic of Common Sense.
Yes.
And he's going to have different things. He said, how about a course about you and your common sense? Well, it would be a very narrow course, but so, I said, well, he wanted me to send various things like CDs of my debates on TV, abortion and blah, blah, blah. And I thought this would be a good candidate, this book, because it's dialogue, and so you get into this whole thing of common sense versus reality, blah, blah. So that's how we got there. And then the other book, Anti-Abortionist at Yard, it's really not I guess you could call it a monograph, but it's not all theory. It's all about theory mixed in with how I got into the pro-life movement and what I did, who debated and all that, letters to senators. And that sold better than anybody. But one of the reasons was the head of artistic production, I guess, at Ignatius Press did the cover, and she sent me to a photo studio in San Mateo, and the guy who she had take the pictures of me was the only photographer Frank Sinatra would use when they got in L.A. And it's that didn't cost anything. And it's a good picture. And that sold, it may have sold 4,000, but I sneaked a bit because in my bioethics course I use the book. So I can't say well popular sales. And and that's how that came about. But this I didn't know what to do with this soldier boy. I had written a monograph from metaphysics that I taught, and I was going to use that as a prologue, I should say. And I never did. So but I thought I'd try it as a book, and so I sent it to a vanity press, Trafford,
Mm-hmm.
and then apparently they sold to somebody else their outfit, and they were hounding me to invest money at this bookstore, and at one time said, I would give you an author's discount if you buy 100. And I said, what on earth am I going to do with 100 books? And, I'm a teacher, I know. And so that's the story there. But Sebastian thought it might be interesting, In fact, if I understood Peter correctly, he thought he might see about selling it. If it measures up, of course, I don't know. But so that's the story, as I see it, of how my books got into your part of the country. Yeah. So Soldier Boy is the condescending name that Lucifer gives to Michael.
Oh, I like it.
Because, there's a tradition, Aquinas was in it, where Lucifer wasn't the most magnificent of the angels. You need to know it's, the Latin form, lux fiat, it was light bearer. And, but other traditions has him as light bearer, and I use that in the book. So he's very condescending in his deceptions to Michael, who is a mere soldier, although he's an archangel.
Right.
And so I worked on that, and I enjoyed it. And then it had some interest. I never, followed that. But and then I have one that Sebastian's doing. The Philosopher's Reflections on the Rosary. And that's when I was a graduate student at UC Berkeley, I promised Mary that if I got my PhD in philosophy, I'd do a book on her. And she delivered it. And I realized some years later, I got to deliver. And I looked at all the bibliography of, Mariology, and, I thought, I can't do that. And a friend of mine said, well, a philosopher should be able to write about the mysteries. Bingo! And I wrote about, the mysteries and brought a lot of my own experiences into the book. And I'm anxious to see if Sebastian keeps the cover. It's of me at 19.
Oh, that's nice.
With in the Navy with a black watch cap on and a black turtleneck sweater.
Wow.
And I thought, well, I was in the Navy on a ship, the same ship for 4 years. And at that during that time, I decided I would say the rosary every night in my bunk, of course.
Right.
Wouldn't want to be walking around the ship of 1,000 men with a rosary, man. And and so I've said the rosary since the 50s, every night. And so this is my payback for Mary. And my big fear is when I die, I'm going to be standing before Christ. And Mary's going to come on the scene and say, Jesus, don't let him into heaven. That book stinks.
Mary would never do that.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
So, so this one's coming out. Will be my 6th book.
Oh,
and
good.
I had bad experiences. I wrote my first book Reason and Dignity by the University Press of America that's sold out to somebody else. And then I wrote my doctoral dissertation while teaching. And my director, after 3 years, my director approved it for defense, and the two committee members wouldn't accept it. And so I had a struggle to try to satisfy him for almost a year, and that didn't work. So I got another director, another topic, and got my PhD. So I had them both published. So of the 6 books, 2 of them are dissertations, and people regard the one that got rejected as my best writing. So, so I had published, and then when we had our 12th grandchild, I said I may not live long enough to write a book dedicated to him, so I just took the second dissertation, which was on Jacques Maritain, and dedicated it to the 12 grandchildren. And so that's where I'm at, and I don't think, I'm 86. I doubt that I'll live to write another book, but I may try.
You're 86? Yeah, my husband's 85.
You're what?
My husband is 85.
I'll see that.
Yeah, and he's just like you. He's very alert, and I hope I'm like that when I'm that age. Well, if I make it.
Well, I know what you mean, because, you boast about your age, but when you get into your 80s, things start breaking down.
Yeah,
and I've been certified with dementia.
Oh, really?
And one night, the revelation was one night a year ago or two, I'm sitting out on our porch talking with my wife, and I feel funny about the conversation. And after it's over, I realized I was talking to my wife as though she were my mother.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife assured me I didn't say anything bad about her. So, so that, but also the parts just break down. And if you want to keep on living, parts keep breaking down, and so that's the story.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it's the parts of, my husband overall is okay. He's got, sounds funny to say that because he's got a bad heart and bad lungs, but today they can really do wonders with that sort of thing. So, he's not as energetic as he used to be, but ultimately I don't care about his energy. I don't care, as long as he's not in any pain. And if he starts to forget, that's okay too, because what ultimately matters is that this is the man I love, regardless of what happens to his body, physically or mentally. So that's the way I feel. He's the guy for me, I'll tell you.
Well, that's a good, healthy way of looking at things. I have congestive heart failure, although four cardiologists told me I have a strong heart, and I used to run 5 miles a day, 3 days a week, and I have bladder cancer, which is incurable. And the drill is I had colorectal cancer about 20 odd years ago, and it left a lot of scar tissue, and scar tissue blocks blood vessels, and so they don't want to take out the bladder. And about my congestive heart failure, nothing has to be added or taken out, just repaired. But at my age, they're afraid to put me under heart surgery. Yeah. Because of dementia.
The anesthesia. Yeah.
My father-in-law was 89, I think. And, he We got out of the hospital. He had heart surgery. We got out of the hospital. He didn't know who his daughter was. So they were afraid to do.
Yeah. My husband had a heart machine put in, defibrillator, internal defibrillator pacemaker. And after the surgery, he wasn't quite right. He was like arguing with the television, but he did come out of it. It took about 3 months, but I think it was the anesthesia, But now he's fine.
Well, that's great, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's I'm in this, of course, self-imposed isolation of the pandemic.
COVID. Yeah.
And retired. And so I write a couple of hours a day. And that's how I did the book on Mary. And then I watched a lot of television because I was so nervous about getting this book published. I couldn't get interested in anything else. And I watched TV. And during the political season, this will drive you nuts.
Yes, that's true. It is.
So it's true what they say, that politics is a blood sport.
Yeah, it is.
So anyway, about the book.
Yes.
Well, it's a kind of philosophical dialogue. Lucifer is rebelling against God because he wants to explore his freedom, and he can't do that if he follows what God wants. And so Michael and he have that. Towards the end of the book, Michael starts getting an insight into the real rebellion. And if Lucifer's so bright, he must know he can't win a war against God. But Michael sees, no, Lucifer is supposed to be the most magnificent of all the angels, and he's angry because he found out God loves Adam and Eve as much as he loves him. Yeah. And when you get psychotic about things, your judgment, in general, I understand goes. So that's how that goes. And we have discussions, and one point I talk about, I introduced two non-Latin or Greek angels. One is Ling and the other is Pablo. And they're given the task of finding a woman who's a leader in pro-life.
Wow.
And finding out if she can be got into trouble, for the bad publicity. And they found one in Mrs. Crawford. And there's great tension between her husband and her because she is invited to so many banquets to be the speaker in this, and he's sort of jealous. And she has an affair with a man, and she thinks she's pregnant by the man. I've named him Mr. Gelding because he's sterile. And he has an affair with her, and then right after that, his car crashes and he's killed. And she doesn't know that he's sterile. And he thinks that she got pregnant, but it wasn't by him. And so the angels are thrilled. They got her. She had an affair and she's pregnant. Maybe she'll have an abortion, And so I leave it at that. With the last words in the book are, Lucifer says to Michael, why can't we be friends again? Remember, we were good friends, and Michael ends it by saying, I remember when I was your friend. And that's because Lucifer deceived him and got him to break away from God by appealing to his insecurities. and that's it. I can't imagine angels dying, so what do you do?
Yeah.
I took a course from Anton Pagus years ago at the Pontifical Institute of Medieval Studies, and in those days the courses lasted a year.
Wow.
And he had a course, The Problem of Man in St. Thomas, and so I had a lot to think about souls and spirituality and everything. So it was good course. And so, and that's, I don't know if I'll come back to doing angels. It was a lot of fun. And but I can only have them talking. I can't imagine them fighting, killing, imprisoning. And like this video I told you of, the TV show, they called me up and flew me down to Los Angeles for an interview in a park by the ocean. And it was, about what my view of angels and everything of the sort. And that appeared in the video of their 5th edition. And this is about a 30-minute interview walking in the forest. But I never did anything more with it. It's very hard to talk about angels. Aquinas was good about it, but and so I like the book. I guess I should have made it the prelude to this metaphysics book I did, and so.
Yeah, so that it is interesting when you think about, these incredible beings, and how powerful they are. I have a very healthy, very, very healthy respect for Satan, in the sense that, I see so much moral evil today, and especially in our country. I suppose it's like that everywhere, but in our country. And yes, he is. And part of it is because people don't believe in him anymore.
That's right, and secularism is really becoming dominant. And in the book that En route has now, I find myself, in talking about the mystics, reverting to the problem of secularism. Nothing is said from the pulpit that is touchy.
Yes, you're right.
And
often,
and that deprives young people of, they're just victims of Madison Avenue and the media. And so I think that's bad. But I remember every year on Christmas there'd be a Cecil B. DeMille movie about Christ being born.
Yes.
Every Easter, Cecil B. DeMille movie about Christ's resurrection. All gone.
Yes, you're right.
And I noticed after dinner, I've developed a very bad habit. I watch reruns of Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, and I love Agatha Christie.
I like
that. Yes.
But the station that puts it on, the Hallmark, they're doing their whole run on Christmas, and that Christ doesn't appear.
No, I know.
At best, hardly at all. And they have one series called The Miracles of Christmas. And I was thinking that one of those miracles isn't the birth of Christ. And so it's really dangerous. And since democracy is a product of Christianity, we're in bad shape on two counts.
Yeah. Well, we actually have very similar television tastes, because I loved Murder, She Wrote when it was on every week, And eventually, I know this sounds weird, but I wanted to be a writer, and in my mind's eye, I had this impression of me being like her, which didn't happen, although I did write a book. But anyway, actually two. And then I love the Hallmark movies. In fact, my husband and I watch them, especially during the Christmas season, because they are very positive. I agree that Christ isn't in them, but at least you see, people falling in love and getting married instead of falling in love and not getting married. So it's very positive in that sense.
And it always ends with a hug and a kiss.
Yes, and so it's uplifting, and it's something, because so many people don't even bother getting married today.
Oh, I know. So. They don't, like I know this couple, they got married, they've been raised Catholic, and they got married, and we went to the wedding and we were shocked. It wasn't in a church, and it was a female minister who married them, and I was talking to a priest friend of mine about this, and he said more and more young people are doing that because if they get a divorce, it's easy then to get remarried,
Oh, well, that's pretty sad. Getting married with the concept that you can get divorced.
Yeah, well, that's right. That was like California is a no-fault divorce state,
Yeah. Yeah. It's sad.
Yes.
Well, the country has changed a lot.
Yeah.
So can people still buy this book about Michael and Lucifer? I want to get a copy and read it, and have it on my bookshelf.
Where can they get it?
Can you get it?
Yes, it's very expensive on Amazon for some reason right now, but it's $16 on Barnes & Noble.
Oh, okay. I'm going to buy one. I think it sounds like it's a really interesting story.
Well, I don't know. I hope you think so when you read it.
Oh, yeah. I think I will.
Yeah. You're looking for it?
Yeah, no,
Yeah. Okay. And so you find out that I don't know. Apparently, most of the books bought in New York City are bought by New York women, and they're pro-abortion.
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, if they had to choose between abortion and pro-abortion,
I think most women are. Because they don't. It's because what I think, and I mean, I'm not saying I'm right, but I think that the reason that so many women are pro-abortion is because they bought into the equality of men and women as meaning sameness, and we're not the same.
Well, that's right.
That's the ultimate problem. We are very, very, obviously we both have human dignity and we're equal in our human dignity, but we're very different. And people are not willing to accept that anymore.
That's right, and it's all, in Pope St. John II's book on marriage, he talks about the connection between contraception and abortion. And how people believe they have a right to sex without pregnancy. And so if she gets pregnant, she believes she can have an abortion to defend that right, And knows how it justifies homosexuality. And, of course, I don't know what to make of our Pope's statement the other day.
Oh, yes, I know. Yeah. That's, kind of surprising. When we're talking about abortion, I don't know if Sebastian ever mentioned to you, but he's publishing my memoir, and I'm an abortion survivor. Back in 1949, my mother tried to abort me chemically, and did not succeed, obviously, or I would not be here. She started, when she started to, I assume she was starting to lose me because she started to bleed, and so she stopped taking the medicine because she was afraid she might die. So she told me that when I was 11, and I write the story not because of, I write the story because it is amazing to me how God can turn a person's life around. I mean, I was so angry when I knew this, and I converted it. I was 38 when I converted and to Catholicism, and it changed my life entirely. It took that anger and bitterness away, but it also gave me a way of viewing the abortion, and I call it an abortion movement. You know, it really is. It gave me a very personal perspective on it. And I really don't think that women have any idea of what they're really doing. I mean, they know that it's terrible.
They don't. No,
terrible.
And I just got an email, one of the general ones, not to me personally. I forgot her name. And said it's established now that abortion produces breast cancer.
Oh, yeah, well, the estrogen that you're, the estrogen is all messed up, so. Yeah, and I mean, we certainly have an epidemic of breast cancer as well as other kinds of cancer, but yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, so so abortion is something we should always bring to the front. We should always talk about it because people really don't know.
They don't. And the interesting thing is, I have been invited over to the University of California at Berkeley 52 consecutive times to debate abortion. And that was, once every semester, of course. And so that's 25 years. And one time I'm leaving, the debate's over, this young man in the audience, very nice, he said, well, I don't agree with you because my mother had an abortion when she was a student here. And if she didn't, she wouldn't have graduated from college, and she wouldn't be able to give me all the good things she's given me. And I said, do you mean that if you were the fetus, she would have aborted you? And they don't think of
yeah.
What it means. And so I've it's quite a scourge, and that's why like what's her name? She's running for vice president.
Yeah.
She's for killing an embryo that survived abortion.
Yeah.
And so is the New York Assembly, But the place is going nuts. And,
I know.
I remember when they wouldn't show a picture of a toilet on a billboard.
Yeah.
And now.
Yeah. I remember when Lucille Ball was the first woman on television that was shown pregnant. And it was, I wouldn't say it was scandalous, but it was something where everyone took notice because no one had seen a pregnant woman on television before. And it is, yeah. And now look at what we have. Oh, yeah. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely. And the devil's having a field day, all this.
Yeah.
Child
absolutely.
and priests and homosexuality among the priests. And one of my last debates at the University of San Francisco was against an Anglican priest who was against the Catholic Church's position on homosexuality. And they had a lot of the campus cops there. I guess they feared trouble.
Yeah.
And but there was no trouble. And but this is all treated now as just normal, and it's the way it is. And so I don't know what to make of it. But at my age, I'll be kicking. How do I put it? I'll have gone to room temperature before it hits the fan. So,
yeah, I think we all will. But yeah, I mean, at some point, somebody's going to have to be able to say something or do something that will make people see the truth.
The priests, and there's an organization that appears on the computer to get the bishops to speak out against abortion.
Good.
And one priest from Africa who's stationed in the States now told me he thinks priests are afraid to speak against abortion. And I mentioned that to an American priest sometime later, and he agreed with me, And so they're not getting the word,
Yeah. Well, hopefully someday this will change, but I don't think it'll be in my lifetime.
No, I quite agree with you. And it may be bloodier than we think. And everything.
Yeah.
Boy. Yeah. So, what can I say? My mother always chided me for talking too much. She said she thinks I was vaccinated with a phonograph needle, but with age, I've subsided.
Yeah. Do you realize how many people wouldn't even know what a phonograph needle is today?
Oh, I know it.
It's kind of funny, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I really enjoyed talking to you.
I enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, you're a lot of fun. Yeah. Okay, well, you have a good night, and I'm looking forward to talking to you tomorrow night.
Both are my sentiments, too. So nice chatting with you. Talk to you tomorrow.
Okay. Take care. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Hello, God's beloved. I'm Annabelle Mosley, author, professor of theology, and host of Then Sings My Soul and Destination Sainthood on WCAT Radio. I invite you to listen in and find inspiration along this sacred journey we're traveling together to make our lives a masterpiece and, with God's grace, become saints. Join me, Annabelle Mosley, for Then Sings My Soul and Destination Sainthood on WCAT Radio. God bless you. Remember, you're never alone. God is always with you.
Thank you for listening to a production of WCAT Radio. Please join us in our mission of evangelization. And don't forget, love lifts up when knowledge takes flight.